The boy who swings from rope to horse, leaping back again to the swinging rope, is learning by his eyes, muscles, joints, and by every sense organ he has to judge, to estimate, to know. The other 29 boys and girls in the gym are all as active as he, some of them in his immediate vicinity. But as he swings, he does not avoid. He swings where there is space, a very important distinction, and in doing so, he threads his way among his 29 fellows. Using all his facilities, he is aware of the total situation in that gym, of his own swinging, and of his fellows' actions. If the room were cleared and 29 boys and girls sat at the side silent while he swung, we should in effect be saying to him, to his legs, body, eyes, be as egotistical as you like. If the swinging boy actually wonders about his choice of where to swing, of where there is space, he will invariably miss it. Neither the contact improvisation dancer nor the swinging boy can afford to be wrong. Design and movement, the prospect of interdisciplinary design, was set up so that we could decide how architectural design defines identity, or alternatively, challenges received identity. This exploration was based on a first-year architecture design pedagogy, experimenting with both defamiliarization and dance. Design in movement constitutes a ground for taking action, in movement, through body, that we contrast to our deeply ingrained visual culture. The students, under the direction of Doug Verone, were divided into groups of 6 with one dance leader from the company. Each dance leader drew a diagram of a shape. The students were asked to compose this shape as a group with their bodies. Once the shapes were basically established by understanding where which bodies were or had to be in relation to each other, the students were asked to morph one shape into the next. They experienced a kind of contact improvisation, because a true awareness of where each body was to every other was necessary. The students were led to take 30-second clips of a video of the professional company and to create a notation of these clips. The idea of the notation was an attempt to record movement and use it as a vehicle for the design of an inhabitable dance and/or ordinary space. The dance clips, unfortunately, were inevitably spatialized, as if each frame were a posted plan or section. The students were ultimately asked to design a series of 6 inhabitable installations that responded to the concept of movement determining space, that is, to space in the making. The movement that determines the space was to be performed by dancers, who were themselves involved all along in the studio as critics and as performers. In Entropy, the project developed into an array of malleable, transparent, and rotating elements that could be dense when the dancers were not there, but could readily be cleared when they were, a kind of space in the making. At the start, the space between them still felt like leftover space. The objects themselves, in other words, were the positive figures, and any concept of movement seemed to be connected to those elements themselves as elements of a ready-made space. Ultimately, we used the final dance performance as a way of critiquing the various project installations. For example, Dichotomy, the project that was most impressive visually, certainly in slides, a static documentation device, in terms of its form, lighting, quality, and so on, actually was able to be read at once. The dancers could do little that was not spatially predictable. We could anticipate how they would use the forms. This was truly a ready-made space. In Chronologue, however, the space was mobile. In the original performance with the Bennington College students and faculty, slides from 4 projectors were projected, switched, projected, and so on. In the moment of the slide switch, the room went black, and it was impossible to know where anyone or anything was. The dancers began to use their voices to find each other.
Did you look behind that? Stop it. Please, what's up? I told you to turn on the lights.
They had to drop their eyes, so to speak, in the ready-made space of which everything would have stood apart at once, and instead had to refer to each other's movement to continue. The transformation of the project from an illegal intervention in a non-occupied future Rensselaer County Council for the Arts home into an active community project was also an issue of movement.